Hello. Hello. In the interest of document, don't create, I'd first like to share how I'm feeling right now, and I think it's important to share. It's important to talk about because I think this is the physical manifestation of what transformation feels like. I've been giving it a lot of thought. The past, I don't even know how long it's been. I want to say it's been 2 weeks. So maybe the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think 2 weeks. I've completely lost track of time. And I've needed a ton of sleep. So I think about 2 weeks ago, I announced, I decided to leave my job. There have been signs saying that like it's time, and so I did. And then that's what I was referencing in a previous video, where for the next 2 days I just immediately felt completely tired, like this weight was off my back, and I just fell asleep. And for like 2 or 3 days straight, I slept, which also led to many powerful realizations that have led to a lot of what I've been talking about in these videos. And I continue to transform. And so what I mean by the physical signs that I feel that this is happening is, number one, needing a ton of sleep. Like, this has been my experience. I would, as you can see, there are stacks of books behind me. I understand that in my future, I will be reading all of those books and making connections and writing about the connections I discover and creating videos, just sharing like the connections I discover. But by the way, I highly recommend this book. I put a community post about it. It's especially if you're an INTP, I highly recommend it. But my experience in the past few days has been, I would open my book, I would read like a paragraph. First of all, like, this book, by the way, is quite dense. It's short, right? But like each paragraph is like pointing at a very, very dense idea. So it's not very easy to read quickly, but I still think it's very good. And on top of that, I could feel like my brain was full of something. It was processing something in the background. I can't tell what it is, but like, this is why I find the idea of the unconscious mind so beautiful and powerful, because I could tell that it was processing something. And I could describe that once again as as transformation. So I would open the book, I would try to read, and I couldn't focus. So I would close the book, and I would rest. And the past 2 days or so, I would be like I would like be thinking about what could I be doing right now, and like even like watching, like I started watching an anime called Free Ren, Free Ren, which I think is amazing. I think Free Ren, the character, is INTP as well. But I couldn't even focus on that, because there was just something. It's like you're installing a program on your computer, and you try and do other stuff, and the other stuff is just really slow. So I closed my eyes and I rested, and I slept more. And on top of this, like, let me describe the other physical experiences you get with this feeling. Is like, first of all, you can't focus. There's like, your mind is full of something. You're physically, your head feels very busy. And then also, I notice here, right between my first four abdomen, I feel this like rising, like sort of like the feeling you get when you're on a roller coaster, except just like a low like vibration, or a low sensation there, like kind of what you would stretch if you breathe in deeply. right there, I feel a sensation there all the time in conjunction with my brain being full. And I wondered to myself, if someone knows, I wondered to myself if that's like just like vagus nerve stimulation, if that's just another sign that I am learning, I'm processing something subconsciously. Found it. I was trying to find that. Processing something subconsciously, and I've come like after I've shared everything after I've realized a lot of stuff about how INTPs work. I've come to trust that the unconscious and subconscious mind just gotta go through its thing, you know. So I slept and I let myself sleep. And by the way, the last video I posted is the culmination. It's almost like I had all of these like disparate ideas and they're processing together, and it started to drip out in a concentrated essence. And the last video was like, okay, I can feel it. It's ready. Let's just open it up and record it and see how it goes. It's like my life in recent years has been very much led by the unconscious mind, unconscious, subconscious mind. I mean, leaving the job was also that. And it's very linked to Bashar's formula, follow your highest excitement at all times. And it's been very exciting because it just seems to work out. So if I listen to myself and it says like, oh, today's not the time, or today's not the time to do anything. It's time to rest. Then I rest. If it feels like the video is cooking in my brain and it's not ready, then it's cooking in my brain and it's not ready. And the idea popped in my head today for how to approach today's video so that I can post it. And so I'm listening to the unconscious, the subconscious mind once again, and recording this. And this video, the idea today is once again quite far-branching, ambitious. We'll see where I get with it. I'm sure, like, beautifully, it just seems to work out somehow, right? And that's the beautiful thing about following the unconscious mind. It knows what it's doing. It's I'll share some thoughts, or the analogy I can use right now from physics is, I feel almost like the unconscious mind is your reality and the more fundamental reality. So it's like the quantum mechanics of your existence. And then your life story and the things you do as you move through life, that's the substrate, that's the projected reality that the quantum mechanics is generating. So in the physics world, that is, the world of relativity, the world of space-time and time and space. And so I've come to learn to listen to the unconscious, the subconscious mind. And it just, I think it as people say, it knows better, it knows more. Just like quantum mechanics is connected to everything, and relativity is a world where things are separate, right? So I'm just listening to that, and yeah, I'm I'm like, it's like I came back from a deep sleep and like a need to transform. And I'll show you, like, that's one of the images I've been thinking about as I did that. I was like, you know what? I think this is a thing. It is like the caterpillar and the butterfly. From a worker bee standpoint, from the TESI standpoint in MBTI, where the only thing that matters is what did you do today, this might look very lazy, right? The caterpillar stops moving and encases itself and liquefies into goo, and emerges from the cocoon completely transformed. But in the linear space plane, nothing changed. If you measure like in the 3D coordinates, did you move today? And the caterpillar / butterfly cannot say it did anything. It'll just say, no, I stayed in one place. But so much was happening in, like if the fourth dimension is time, then it's the fifth dimension of identity, and your sense of reality. The caterpillar / butterfly sense of reality has completely transformed. And that's how I felt. That's how I felt these past few days. Like I came to understand that that's what's happening. I'm moving through that plane. Not a plane that you can see from without. It's not space or time. I'm moving through the plane of reality shifting itself. And I think that's very much like that's a lot of what today's topic is. So if that sounds like it's down your alley, then stay tuned. I also connect that. I'm just gonna jump around and share things as they come up as well, because I have a lot of stuff to show you. But if you've ever heard of the concept of the hero's journey, who made it? Oh yeah, Joseph Campbell. Oh, it's a book too. I want to read that book. Let me show you the hero's journey as well, so we can make this connection. But let me find a. Is there a higher resolution one? Let's see. There we go. Come on, open image. It is the image. Okay. So here's the hero's journey, right? And the fascinating thing about the hero's journey, which by the way is it's a very common trope in movies and stories. The fascinating thing about the hero's journey is you didn't go anywhere. You didn't go you went through all of this, and all you ended up in the XYZ plane or XYZ plane, space and time. You ended up in the same place, but everything has changed. On some other dimension, everything has changed. You transform on the plane of identity and understanding of reality, right? And I guess you call that the fifth dimension. They talk about all these dimensions of reality, and I wonder how you can connect that. But this is transformation. And if I can title today's video, I can talk about how today's video will be about transformation, and almost like explaining that even if you make no 3D, 4D movement, you are still moving rapidly. Especially like fellow INTPs, I believe that this is like how you move. Like people looking outside will say, he's not moving at all. Well, no. If you are living your life's purpose, you're constantly doing this. You are getting revelations. You're getting revelations, dying and being reborn, and coming back to the same place, but a completely different person. So, yes. By the way, I wonder if what's happening as I like go through this sensation of just like complete newness, like that's really what I'm going through right now. Is like my eyes have changed, the way I see the world has changed, and as I wake up into this new world, my brain, like just my being, needs to process like this new reality I'm in, right? And what I experience is like this gut sensation of like I think my gut brain is being reprogrammed, So and that leads me to a lot of other thoughts, which is Here's another quote, Wayne Dyer. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This, I feel, once again, is someone talking about transformation. Hold on, let me... there we go. That's more normal. All right. I think this is once again a quote talking about transformation. And I have also been thinking about how a lot of these concepts are, in my previous video I talked about metaphysics, and the way that you see reality determines how you speak. And the human way that we prefer to speak, given our current metaphysics, is with, it's like as I said, it's Newtonian physics. You speak with absolute space and time. Oh, what time did you do that? What was the causes that led to that effect? Right. That is Newtonian physics. But perhaps you can see that this statement here is actually a Newtonian physics way to talk about a quantum statement. So the quantum understanding of the world is, I've refined this, it is that there is no such thing as a separated system. The entire system is in connection. It's aware of itself at all times, and so just as if we think in Newtonian terms, right? When I move this part of my arm down, this part of the arm goes up, and you don't have to think about like cause and effect there, because you know that the system is closed. The system it's one system. It's not two parts. Then you don't have to talk about how did that part of the arm go up? Of course it goes up because it's part of the same system. And this is something that I realized also about electricity. The electrical laws that are observed, the whole system reacts as if it knows everything about itself. And that's once again this example of what happens when a system moves as one. It understands everything about itself, and thus you don't have to think about how long, what was the cause and effect within the system, how long did it take for the information to transfer? No, it's all one interconnected system, and thus there's no such thing as information transfer required here, right? And so perhaps you can hear that this statement here is a Newtonian way to describe a quantum idea. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wayne Dyer. Here's the quantum way to say this. The way you look at things and the way things are the same thing. And observation is merely one way to create the reality you see. Like as we see in quantum mechanics, if you measure a certain way, then the object displays the measurement that you are asking for, and it doesn't display anything else. It's like a projection onto a 2D paper of a 3D object, right? If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This is someone trying to explain a higher dimension idea with the four-dimensional Newtonian space, but what you can say instead is, what you look at, you see what you look at. You see what you look at, and they are the same thing. That's of course, language is temporal, so you can't say it in such an interconnected way. But it's kind of like this. If I have a square, So here's the image that's in my mind. When I push against a table, the table moves forward. And which one What I'm trying to say is when you deform something, then the effect happens, and one way to look at it is cause and effect, but the other way to look at it is obviously the effect will happen because the cause happened. And if this is an instantaneous reaction to your action, then, and there's no time and space, there's no time involved here, then all you can really say is the deformation is the deformation, equals. And that's kind of what I hear about this when you ignore the idea of time. If you change the way you look at things, I think you look at change. Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't have to think about it as cause and effect. It's already true, right? And as I said, this is a very ambitious idea, so I will merely throw out everything I hear, and I hope those who have ears, let them hear. People who like this way of thinking, like in MBTI terms, extrovert intuition, thank you for continuing to listen. And I think there's a lot of value in this for anyone, but of course it will need to, I think, perhaps be filtered through whatever ways that they can hear it, right? So that previous quote reminded me of the Gandhi quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," right? And then I looked around and I found out that Gandhi actually said something a lot more. And you can kind of hear the echoes of what he said with, like the ideas of Neville Goddard and these almost like, what do you call it, new thought teachers. We but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies of the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. Mahatma Gandhi. And it's incredible to think like, this sounds like a new idea, right? Like law of attraction, like The Secret came out like only 10 years ago, and it was a very popular idea at the time. But I'm sure Gandhi learned this from reading yogic texts and also just observation itself. Like he saw that, as Carl Jung talked about with synchronicities, that if I just make a realization inside, the entire world changes how it reacts to me. And I've completely seen that in my own life. And Gandhi noticed it too, and he used it to determine how he's going to lead his people. And speaking of Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. I've been doing a lot of thought also into like, this how transformation seems to be my way of traveling through the world, and I think in that way, me and Carl Jung are kindred spirits, because what he aimed to do was, another way to say this is to raise consciousness. This is the more spiritual world way of saying this these days is raise consciousness, make the unconscious conscious. And when you make the unconscious conscious, there are many things that you will no longer be able to do because you're too aware of what you are doing, right? There are so many ideas you can connect to that, but the example I gave in something I wrote recently is, once you become aware that the place you are littering is also your backyard, you will stop littering because you realize that there is no separation. So yeah, I've been going through just if you look temporally, if you look in time and space, it's been 2 days of transformation. In another way, it was instantaneous because I saw things that I didn't see before, and when you see things you didn't see before, you see a completely new reality. Everything's the same, but you don't see the same thing. And I was thinking about this for this video as well, and I think about this idea of like, if you see it, you can never unsee it. And I feel almost that I mean, first of all, scientists are like they're like optical illusion enthusiasts. They're like they look at nature and they say like, what am I not seeing here? What optical illusions are here that if I like look closely enough, it'll pop out at me, and then once you see it, you can never unsee it, right? Like, look, his lip, like he's got a gorilla lip there, right? You know, or a wide smirk, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. I also, if you are familiar with MBTI, I see that INTPs, like, I gave a video about how, like, what we do is we connect ideas widely to create more accurate lenses, right? And I see that seems to be that is very much my purpose. I've come to see that is my purpose, to continue to transform into new lenses, and from that new place, from that new reality that I have now created with my new lenses, what's next to see? So, what is that like? It's like traveling through portals, or like the phrase like quantum jumping. It's like you don't travel through the current reality, you travel through realities. You know. Here's another example of. Once you see it, you can never unsee it. Someone pointed out to my friend that her dog's forehead has the Batman symbol on it. Like, you might not have seen it, but now I feel like I apologize for showing you right away, because now you won't have the unseeing part, right? Or the not seeing it part. But hey, the dog has the Batman symbol on his head, and once you see it, you can never unsee it, right? If you've ever encountered the very viral idea, the viral meme of I'll say it like this: the number of students passing a basketball around, counting how many passes that were done. I'll link that, because that's another example of this idea. So I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I started to think about so speaking from an MBTI lens, I think there are some people. There are some people. I think everyone will go through a transformation in their lives, but the path of their transformation is going to be very different. And there are people that are very task-oriented. They see before them a path. Like, this person is not aiming to transform themselves. But perhaps another way to say it is by moving along this path, they will transform themselves inadvertently. They're not directly pursuing transformation. I see this path here as this is probably very TESI. TE is planning, execution, organization. SI is one way to say it is, what is the path that has been laid before me by our past generations and history. And also just from my own experience. And these people are very like dependable, reliable, and they get things done, right? That's not really my strong point as an INTP. But for TE people, so ESTJ, ENTJ, this is much more their focus. I have another image here. Yeah, like these, and then you can also say for SE people, the people that they live for experience. If they are also not directly aiming for changing their lenses. They're not so much changing their lenses. They are here to explore the world. That's SE. TE is they are here to get things done. And I think along the way they will transform, but it's not their focus. So I see that as another way to navigate reality. I've been thinking about that. What's next here? Which had me going down another path. About I was reminded, like, I'm going to connect many movies and TV shows here. Yeah. So if you ever watch Westworld, this is a key plot point. And if you want to see the quote, "The maze wasn't meant for you. The maze wasn't meant for you." And it's very interesting. Like, I wonder if the Westworld creators had some Jungian psychology influence in them, because this looks very much to me like the 16 types and their maze. Or actually, this is almost the process of individuation in Jungian psychology, where I see a path forward that no one else can see, and I'm going to take it. That's also the call of the hero's journey, right? And someone else looks at this maze that's meant for you, and it doesn't look like anything to them. I love that. I love that part of Westworld. By the way, what's the guy running its name? I don't remember, but that guy was so good at his role. I'm gonna look it up. Name of person running Westworld. Bernard. Awesome character. Highly recommend Westworld, by the way. Anyways, so I'm talking about transformation today. And I also recall, okay, so if you've ever heard of an organization called Landmark International, I think it's called, I was really into their programs, and I took the forum, I took the advanced courses, and I took the Introduction to Leaders program, and many things like that, as well as others. And I was getting a ton out of it. And then I was presenting the information to no, actually, this was after I had ended like all the programs. I got a call from my sister-in-law, and I was talking about how so much has been happening, so much has changed. I've learned so much. And my sister-in-law said, "Are you sure that you're just thinking that, and it's all just in your head, or something like that?" And right now, after all this thought, I'm realizing that there no hard feelings. Once again, she is more tuned for this kind of life. I read her as ESTJ. She's more tuned for this kind of life, and I'm more tuned for a transformation, hero's journey. Once again, right? Like the hero ends up exactly where they started, but completely transformed. So, and here's, so I'm looking together many different ideas, but once again, and I think actually this image here speaks to many parts of this idea. So once again, like a tree does not move, but a tree completely transforms in its character and its purpose, and also the fascinating thing is, like, people regard it differently too. Just by transforming its identity, it moves through life, having moved nowhere physically, but having moved everywhere metaphysically, like identity-wise, right? And this speaks to me about the temporal aspect of transformation as well. I mean, if you look at both of these, if you look at let's pull over the caterpillar as well. There is a temporal aspect. However, I think the temporal aspect, in my view, the temporal aspect is secondary. It's going to take as long as it takes. And, I mean, you can time it, but that's not going to change how long it takes, right? The same goes for the tree. And I also heard a recent, I'm going to link another video that I heard today, which is completely linked to this. But the observation that the thing it talks about, and what I've noticed in my own life is, the more you wake up, the more conscious you realize you discover, consciousness you discover, the more you realize that you're only scratching the surface. And we are conscious being. We're finite beings in an infinite reality, and that means that this is to me this is a beautiful, just endless path. Which once again, I will not really move through much in the physical reality unless it calls for that, right? But unlike a tree and a caterpillar into a butterfly, this path of consciousness I have come to see is infinite. It's quite endless. At least from my current understanding. Here's another example of farming technology. What I find fascinating, you're viewing this video on maybe a smartphone or a computer, and your reality is oriented around technology right now, smartphone and computer, right? I have come to think about how that is also a transformation. Not only is it an individual process of transformation, but there is a cultural and sociological, societal transformation happening constantly. We live in this world where computers are the norm, and before that, computers were just unthinkable. It was a completely different reality. So each technological step we take is a transformation in the identity of what it means to be human. And that will continue forever, I believe. It seems like from this lens, it appears to be true. And so, before the 1900s, farming used to mean a completely different thing. But with tractors and machines, it changed. The idea of what it means to be a farmer has changed. And then computers and satellites and mobile phones and Internet of Things, AI, the idea of what it means to be a farmer is we live in a different reality. These people will, I think they will actually very easily get here if they like, but they're going to have to change their understanding of what reality is in order to do so. Right. I see one of my favorite movies is The Matrix. And I see the process of Neo becoming the one as this process of transformation. And what I find fascinating is, once again, this quantum jumping idea, moving through realities. The oracle said that you've got the gift, but it seems like you're waiting for something. Maybe your next life, maybe, which is actually exactly what it says here about the hero's journey. Abyss. You need to go through the death and rebirth. That's what she's telling him. So, if you look at the hero's journey, you're going to see that the Matrix follows it exactly, I believe. But see, revelation, death, rebirth, transformation here, right? Spoiler alert: Neo is caught and killed, and only then can he come back and realize that what he thought was reality was actually just a projection. And let's see if the next one is as I think. Nope, I don't have the image yet. Let me see if I'm going to pull that up. I'm looking for an image that shows Neo when he saw the Matrix. Because he gets up. Trinity says, "Get up, Neo." Neo gets up. And he sees this. What he previously thought was reality, he realizes is just code. And instead of living in this matrix that he previously thought was reality, he can just say no. And he can look at it for what it really is. Just a projection that people were treating as the truth. But it's all a lie. It's Maya. It's an illusion, right? And the more I learn about all this stuff, and the more I see the significance of this scene here. Perhaps you might have seen this scene and thought like, oh, why'd they put that in there, right? Where when Neo is waiting for the oracle to be, ready to see him, the assistant tells Neo, here are the other potentials. Go and you can talk. You can meet with them as the oracle is getting ready or something. And this kid is bending a spoon. And the boy says, "Do not try and bend the spoon. That is impossible. Instead, only realize the truth." Neo says, "The truth?" The boy says, "There is no spoon. Then you will realize the truth. Then you will realize this. Hold on. Then you will realize this. That it is not the spoon that it bends. It is yourself." And you can see this just connecting with all of this stuff that I've been studying. I mean, I've been very fascinated with spiritual studies and reprogramming the subconscious mind. Neville Goddard, New Thought, Law of Attraction, Law of Assumption, Hermetic principles. Like it's all coming together. But as you can see, that he's speaking to exactly what Neo realizes later, that there is no matrix. There is no matrix. What he is seeing is a projection of his mind. And he's the creator. He is in control. There is no matrix. Then you realize that it is not the matrix that bends, but yourself. In order for him to realize that, he had to go through death and rebirth. Right? I like explaining this too because it's like a kind of I got a set. I never said it exactly that way, right? So I'm getting a realization alongside you, and that's fun. While I'm letting that soak in, I'm gonna look up the quote by the boy. Bending spoon, boy. Quote matrix. Let's find out. There we go. Let's read it together. Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. What truth? There is no spoon. There is no spoon. Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends. It is only yourself. And it speaks to transformation. Hold on, I'm just gonna let that sink in for myself as well. Yes, it speaks to transformation. And it also talks to me about, I'm sure this is actually a story directly from the Bible first, but there's also a book by Conwell, William H. Conwell, Russell H. Conwell, Acres of Diamonds. It's a story of someone who in order to go and prospect for diamonds, the person sells everything that they own, and they go on a trek to sell diamonds or to find diamonds. The person that they sell their house to walks out into their backyard and notices that there's a chest of diamonds right there in the person's backyard. It's been there all along. And the book talks about how like each of you, everyone listening everyone listening here, every human being has an acre of diamonds in their backyard that if they only had the eyes to see, they would see. And all of these mirroring, echoing ideas are all talking about this, right? Speaking to transformation and the power of an idea, because what I've talked about is how INTPs we gather wide breadths of information, and we process it all to see like this underlying lens upon which you can understand everything through. I've come to see in my own life that once I make an insight, once I make a realization, everything changes, and my action changes automatically, and that's why I very much disregard the physical journey of life, because I understand that if I see things the proper way, then I will naturally act the proper way. I mean, that's what you can call mastery. What you can call mastery is someone who's just, it's obvious what to do because you see everything involved. If you think about a chess grandmaster, they say, why'd you do that? That's obviously not the right move. But the person who's not the grandmaster can't see that. It's not about the actions that the chess player is going to take. It's not about the move the chess player is going to make. It's everything about the reality that they see on the chessboard. That's one way to say this. If you're an INTJ listening, I'm sure that analogy really, really hit home for you. So it's becoming clearer and clearer to me that this is what I aim for in my life. Having better and better lenses through which to see the world, so I can see clearly, and then it becomes obvious what action to take. So here's another movie on my list of my favorite movies. And the idea of Inception, the movie, and the process of Inception itself, which is like the planting of an idea in someone's mind, reminds me so much of this transformation process. Here's the quote. An idea is like a virus, resilient, highly contagious, and even the smallest seed of an idea can grow. It can grow to define or destroy you. And once again, spoiler alert. Cobb planted a nefarious idea into his lover's mind. If I can say the statement concisely, this world is not real. You need to leave it to join your real family. She was incepted with that, and she was obsessed with the idea of having to leave the real world as well. She just felt this need, that's actually quite a spiritual idea to say that reality is an illusion, but she took it a very meaningful way, and she acted on that very small idea. Once again, her reality manifested itself such that became the obvious step to take, to leave this world so that she can go to the real world, which of course, which as we've come to understand is, as far as we know, that wasn't true. She just was incepted with that idea, right? And then the whole plot of the movie is about incepting the inheritor of an empire with the idea, you don't have to live out your father's legacy. Live your own life. That's what your father would have wanted. And they also talk about how this like one of the most powerful feelings you can have is a feeling of catharsis, of reconciliation, of like all of that pain that you thought you had, you can let it all go. And so that was tied to this idea, the father telling the son, don't you understand? I've always been proud of you. Live your own life. And with that tiny idea implanted in the son's mind. The son's reality, his view of his father, of the empire, of like how he should live his life, completely transformed. And he executed on the original purpose of this idea, which was to break apart his father's empire. Like the father's empire's competitor didn't want the father's empire to just like own everything. And so he moved to make this behemoth of a company dissolve itself, and they did it through the inception of a beautiful idea. The son always feeling like just suppressed under his father. His father saying, disappointed. I was disappointed that you tried to be me. Be your own man. And you can hear how that idea can completely transform the lenses through the eyes through which you see the world. And you take completely different actions. Before, you were your father's son, and you had to live out his life through you, and you were never good enough, right? After, you are your own man. Prove it to everyone. You deserve it. Completely different, effortless actions to take from that new lens through which to see the world, through transformation. Here's another quote I love and I'm just reminded of. I reject your reality and substitute my own. Adam Savage, INTP. That's Mythbusters. What I love about this reality as well is the people around us constantly show us that what you thought was possible is not all that's possible. There's more that's possible. And Mythbusters to me is an example of a show that I didn't think should have worked. But of course, with the proper vision in place, anything can work. Right? I'm letting the Inception example sink in because it is a beautiful thing. I think catharsis is a beautiful thing. Reconciliation is a beautiful thing. That the ending scene or the climax of Inception, the movie, was very impactful for me. It's a scene. It's like one of my favorite scenes of all time in cinema. I'll let this again. What amazing actors too, amazing actors. The father and the son and Cobb and actually all of them. I think all of them were amazing in that movie. Here's another quote referencing the same book, and then you can trace it back to the biblical story. You are at this moment standing right in the middle of your own acres of diamonds. Earl Nightingale. If I'm standing there, why can't I see it? Well, you do not yet have the eyes to see. You have yet to go through the transformations required to realize that it is right there in front of you. But like an optical illusion, you can't see it. There's a series of transformations and insights and revelations that you must go through first. And I just find that fascinating because like the movie Jumper, I think it's called Jumper, it means you no longer, unless it calls you to do this, because I think there are people that would call you to do this, but you no longer need to walk to get here. You can merely bend reality itself through your identity and realize you're already there. I mean, it reminds me of, or like, I'm talking to you over the internet right now. I'm talking to thousands of people over the internet. And just one generation ago, that would have been considered impossible. Like I would tell my grandfather, oh, let me just talk to my brother in Japan. And the grandfather says, oh, how long will that take? Won't that take months? Like, you're going to have to send it over post. But the transformations has been such that at the speed of light, I can communicate instantaneously. Yeah, there is this other dimension of reality that's not just time and space. Time and space, you can almost think of time and space like understanding the paradigm of Newtonian physics has people thinking that time and space is paramount. It is the fundamental of reality. And by the way, like, people that think this way, they are like the hustlers, the hustle culture. What did you get done today? Are you managing your time properly? But we no longer live in a world where Newtonian physics is the most modern kind of physics, and that is what you see. Like, it's almost like the tech startup area, the tech startup industry, and technological companies, and then actually like YouTube creators, Twitch streamers. They show us that there is no path. There is no path. Like, these overnight successes, like no matter what they tell you, because like, I feel like they have to speak to the people that have Newtonian metaphysics in their brain. Like, yes, this took many years and there's a lot of hard work and grind. It really wasn't. All it was the proper transformation was required. And that transformation takes as long as it takes, but it doesn't take any specific amount of time. It doesn't require a specific number of steps. If you are born, if I woke up today and I had the identity of Dave Chappelle, then I would suddenly be famous Dave Chappelle. Maybe not suddenly, but I would have what is required to create what he has. I was also thinking about how that's a great analogy too. When a joke is funny, it's funny. There's no like oh, if you just say it 10 more times, then it's funny. It'll be funny. Like, maybe it'll be funny the 10th time. No, the joke is not funny. So stop saying it. And there is no path to making this funny, except through a series of transformations and realizations that allow you to change the joke's identity completely, such that it is now funny. But it won't be funny in a linear way, like just adding up. I mean, unless there is some on the dimension of humor. If you know how to get it to funny, you can. But it won't be on the dimension of like how many words is it or something. You're looking at it with the wrong set of dimensions. And I assert this, that the people who are looking at it this way, I mean, like, I'm sure like I wonder if this was the best way for them. But I feel like it's almost like teleportation and warp speed. Like, they are just using a definition of reality that is unnecessary, and then they're connecting it to transformation. Like, in the process of doing this, they transform inadvertently. But what I'm speaking to today is, like, instead of transforming inadvertently, you can just transform. You can just transform. Instead of watching the river run and form the track of the river such that water is delivered to the lake, you can dig the canal. That kind of idea. I've heard the phrase the pathless path, and I feel like the pathless path is talking to this. One that is not visible from the external world, but it is done through a series of transformations, and you can stay in the exact same place but live a completely different life. That resonates a lot with me. So I'm sharing it with you. I'm gathering myself because I've shared with you all of the images that I have, but I also have notes. So I will speak to everything that I see. But I feel almost like if you've ever looked at like a sales page of an online product, it just keeps going. Or if you've ever watched an infomercial, it just keeps going. They bring up like, oh, feature number 1, feature number 2, and this is not just $10,000. It's not $10,000, even though it's worth $10,000. It's not $5,000. It's not $100. It's not $50. It's $25. And if you call in the next 10 hours, we'll give you another one for free. You know, it just keeps on piling on. And I feel like what I've done in this video is just like here's my thesis, here's my idea, and let me just show you not one example, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just that's very much, by the way, in MBTI terms, this is extroverted intuition. Just everything echoes everything else. There are many different ways to say the same thing, and they all speak to this higher truth about reality. So I'll look for any points that I have not mentioned yet that are in my notes. Here's one. Progress is not done through linear world movement. It is instantaneous through personal transformation. I say even for people who wish to hustle and execute and get things done, even for them, their progress is actually done through transformation, but they transform through the process of linear world movement. There's an idea that Jeffy of RSD talks about with dating, where he says that there are two dimensions that you go through as you're meeting a new, for his example, a new girl to date as a man. I'm a man. There's a horizontal plot development, which is like what stage of the night are we in if we're out and traveling. And then there's vertical development, which I can talk to as transformation. Because horizontal plot could be like okay, we go to one place, we go to another. Like, what are we doing? Oh, we did this together. That was fun. We're going here. And then in the U.S. world, it's like taking the girl home, right? But then there's a vertical element, which is like this is the person I'm talking to transforms. The exact same person can be a stranger, can be an acquaintance, can be someone I shared like a really fun, like a really important memory with, someone I fought with and we made up with, someone who's my lover. There are so many stages that a relationship can go through that is not visible from the external world. It's not space or time. It is the dimension of the relationship, right? And so he talks about that. Like I think what a lot of, if you're familiar with RSD, what a lot of what they talk about is the discovery of this dimension of a relationship. And like, if you understand that dimension exists and you step through it as fast as possible, then you can move into a deep relationship very fast in terms of the linear space and time. If you just speak directly to the relationship stages and go through that in a way that's comfortable for both people, I mean, that happens all the time, right? Where chemistry, like chemistry is that idea where it's like, oh, I never blah on the first date or third date, but with the right person and having gone through the right stages together, it becomes very natural that that's what you do, because that's the kind of relationship you're in. And once again, I'm speaking to something that's not time or space. Transformation, right? There's another idea that I love, which speaks to transformation. Leo Guru, one of my favorite people, he posted a video that I think about all the time. The video's title is Awareness alone is curative. Awareness alone is curative. And I've come to discover this myself. I've recently lost quite a bit of weight. And the way I did it was I merely added 2 things to my life. I recorded the calories of what I ate, and I sought to be under the limit, and then I weighed myself every day. And those 2 became like an input-output feedback loop. And I became but see, like that's the interpretation. What was the transformation was understanding the connection of those 2 things. And also the connection that eating food equals calories, like making that connection as well. Those 3 connections. I didn't need to do anything else. I just needed to build into my awareness that eating food equals calories. Having a certain total of calories equals a certain weight gain or weight loss. And if I see that, I'm already transformed. Awareness alone is curative. The weight loss is just inevitable afterwards. Another quote here, or another thing I wrote here. Transformation is instantaneous. Transformation is instantaneous, but the consequences take time, but less time than one thinks. This is like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yes, now everything you look at changes. You live in a new reality, and the actions you take will automatically be different. But it takes time for the new reality to sprout and turn into what it needs to turn into. But there's nothing for you to do. There's only for you to do to see the new reality. And that speaks to the idea of programming the subconscious mind. That's what you're doing when you program the subconscious mind. You are shaping the reality you see, and the actions you take will from just a very deep place, unconscious to subconscious. The reality you see will be completely different, and when you see a completely different reality, you're going to take different actions. It's inevitable. And I hold that the people that think that things take hard work and hustle and all that stuff, that is them working from within their reality. But what you can do instead is you can change your reality. They are merely acting from within their reality. And that's what I've been thinking about. Here's another quote, Peter Drucker: "What gets measured gets managed." And that's once again this idea of like when you change the way you look at things, the way things you look at change. When you have increased their consciousness and awareness, then your actions will automatically change. Be the change you wish to see in the world, Gandhi. Change yourself, change the world. That's what I wrote here. And what do you change? You change what you see. And when you are standing in that new reality, as is told by like teachers like Neville Goddard and them, when you're standing in that new reality, the reality you see changes, and that's all you need to do. And now it just takes time for that reality to reflect itself around you. Here's a quote about the Matrix. Neo was already the one. He just didn't see it yet. He had to shed his old Matrix identity. He had to die to his past and come back as the one. And I wrote here about the path of the quantum jumper. That's what this is. This is another dimension, the dimension of your identity and the mind. Transformation. It's not like me moving my hand from here to here. That's not what we're talking about. However, this I hold personally that this is the only way that anything happens. Mostly because if you use your hands to create a new reality, but the reality is not within you, then your reality within you will push to keep the reality the same as your identity. And what I think happens for people in this way of thinking is like, I won't allow myself to be here until I've shown myself that I get there. And so like their identity is, as I said in another video, their identity is tied to the actions taken. So, I mean, like I think that's understandable, and that's actually a commendable thing. That's their wheelhouse, and they can do that. But if it's not you, then you don't have to do it. And I wrote here, those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, or each the path, because the path of transformation is personal. You cannot see, the maze wasn't meant for other people, and so that's completely fine. They do not have eyes to see, nor ears to hear. So listen to the maze that was meant for you. Another quote here: "The path of transformation is all encompassing. It is reality itself. There's nowhere to go but somewhere within to transform. It's not about input or output. It's not about what you do, or it's not about what's happening outside, but it is about self and the journey you go through of transformation, of seeing something new that you can never unsee again." So today's episode was partially about documenting and not creating, because I realized that I was I've been moving through realities recently, and in each new reality, myself needed the space and time to acclimatize myself to the new reality that I am now living in. Even though it's the same room, it's a new room now, because I have changed. So I wanted to share that, and then I was expanding that idea out into what I can share with you and say something about reality. And I think I've succeeded in doing that. I might not share all the links that I said I was going to share, because I forget which ones, but I have a link here that I'm going to share. A video I watched today that is about this idea. But I feel that I've quite well covered this idea today. Let me stew on that a little bit right now, just to see if there's anything else I want to say. But I feel quite complete. I feel like I've said everything. I'm very excited. I feel so much more logically aware and understanding of what my path is, and also what people have been talking about all this time, and how much I can trust the unconscious mind. Because, as I said, or I think what has become apparent as I explain and I explore, that the unconscious mind is reality itself. And if I have properly shaped it, then I will automatically act in the ways that create what I see as my reality. Yeah, I'll watch this video over again, and as I watch it over, I will share all the links that there are to share that I reference. But I do want to just make you aware of certain things that are also happening in my personal real life. My friend and I, Derek, we are hosting a meetup in the Seoul Gangnam area. It's going to happen on Saturday, 3 p.m. in Gangnam here. So if you are in the area and you are interested, you may attend. There are some people who have RSVP'd. I also have a YouTube channel with said friend. And I'll show it to you real quick to just let you know. The topic is about MBTI, and I've learned a ton about INTJs in particular because my friend is INTJ. So I will link that if I remember to do it, and you can look into what that's about. I personally have gotten a lot of value out of MBTI and the cognitive functions, and if that interests you, go ahead and look into that, and look into my other videos. I think you'll see that I am not an adherent to any system. I study just broadly every system that I like. The less I know about a system, the more I want to know about it. So, also if you hear about any systems that you think I'd be interested in, go ahead and link it to me or mention it to me. But I'm sure I will enter another period of hibernation after this video, because I think I've explained something to myself transformative enough that I will once again be in a new reality. But with that, stay tuned. I intend to read many books and share with you the insights that I have gained. Have an excellent day. I hope this was of value to you. And I will talk to you next time. Yep, I will talk to you next time.